Welcome to the Just Nuke It podcast. Buckle up, because this week we're launching a full-on apocalyptic probe into not one, but two pulse-pounding flash fiction stories. You know, the kind that throw you headfirst into those what-if, end-of-the-world scenarios.
Oh yeah, we're talking about those stories that grab you by the collar and don't let go.
Exactly. But forget your usual doom and gloom, because these tales are more like, I don't know, blockbuster action movies. But for your ears.
You know, that's a great analogy. They really do have that cinematic feel to them, full of tension and those oh no they didn't moments.
So the first flash fiction story we're diving into is called The Coded Chronicles. Just picture this. A world on the verge of collapse. But not from the usual suspects like, bombs or asteroids.
Right, none of the classic Hollywood disaster tropes.
This time, it's a complete digital meltdown. The story throws us right into this chaotic reality where a group of, well, they're basically kids, young hackers, stumble upon this heavily encrypted digital library. And I'm not talking about breaking through the school's firewall to get extra time on the computer. This is something way bigger.
Sounds like they've stumbled onto something they shouldn't have.
Oh, definitely. Our protagonist, Z, along with her crew, Eli, Nisha, and even her, well, let's just say overprotected brother, Benji, they uncover something called Project Lazarus. When you first hear that name, what pops into your head? Is it straight-up conspiracy theory territory, or is there something more to it?
I mean, it's a name that instantly makes you think, right? Project Lazarus. It has that biblical resurrection vibe to it, like something coming back from the dead.
And in a way, that's not too far off. See, in our world, we're so incredibly connected, reliant on all this digital stuff. The idea that there might be these hidden protocols, fail-safes buried deep within that system, well, it's both fascinating and a bit unnerving.
You can't help but wonder, what if something's out there, watching, waiting for the right moment to, I don't know, kick in?
And that's exactly the unsettling feeling this story taps into. As Z and her friends dig deeper into these lines of code within code, it becomes terrifyingly clear that Project Lazarus isn't some random conspiracy theory. It's an actual planet-wide emergency protocol.
So they've basically stumbled onto the kill switch for the entire world.
Pretty much. What hooked me right away was that classic David versus Goliath setup. Here you have these teenagers who are probably more comfortable navigating the dark web than, say, saving the world.
It's that whole underdog thing, right? We love to root for the unlikely heroes.
Totally. And they're up against these shadowy cyber entities. And to make matters even worse, there's a meteor hurtling towards Earth. Talk about a double whammy.
It's like the universe is throwing everything it's got at them.
Their journey is a wild ride. Think commandeering library e-readers, like, who even thinks of that? To hijacking tourist phones, all while being chased by those men in black types.
You know, the ones in those expensive suits who always seem to know more than they let on.
Exactly. Those guys. We're right there with them as they frantically try to decipher these broken instructions, repurpose everyday technology in ways you wouldn't believe, and ultimately they have to face this impossible task.
Which is, don't leave us hanging.
Rewriting the code of the apocalypse itself. Yeah, no pressure or anything. It's a total nail-biter where survival comes down to basically outsmarting ones and zeros.
The fate of humanity resting on the shoulders of a bunch of tech-savvy teenagers, that's a pretty compelling image.
Right. Now let's shift gears completely. From the digital world to something, well, ancient and awe-inspiring. Our next flash fiction story is titled The Moai Guardian's Awakening. Okay, so you know those iconic stone faces on Easter Island? Forget those peaceful, serene images. In this story, those Moai aren't just silent sentinels anymore.
They're what? Don't tell me they're rot.
Yep, they're waking up. Our main guy, Finn, he admits that he never quite got the whole Moai thing, even though his parents are archaeologists and dragged him along on research trips.
So he's basically the reluctant hero who gets thrust into this crazy situation.
100%. But when the ground starts to throb with this rhythmic pulse and the Moai start moving, and I'm talking about terrifying, impossible grace, as the story puts it, Finn's little vacation takes a sharp turn into apocalyptic territory.
I mean, that image alone, giant stone statues coming to life, is enough to send chills down your spine.
And this isn't your run-of-the-mill natural disaster.
Right.
This is the activation of something so ancient, so powerful, that it could potentially wipe out humanity. Finn's not out there being all heroic. He's just trying to survive. And the whole world is freaking out because these Moai aren't just moving around randomly, they're coordinated.
So there's intelligence behind their actions. That's what makes it so scary, right?
Exactly. We have no clue what their purpose is, and that unknown factor is what really gets under your skin. It's like, imagine waking up one day and all those statues in parks and museums suddenly start walking around. Creepy, right?
Yeah, it's like that primal fear of the unknown amplified to a global scale.
Alongside some other survivors, Anya, who's super resourceful, and Rafe, who's kind of the brains of the operation, Finn stumbles onto this disturbing truth. The Moai aren't here to save us. They're wardens, guardians of something.
So they're more like jailers than saviors.
Bingo. This story throws us into a mystery that goes back centuries, hinting at something trapped beneath the island, something the Moai were built to contain. And it becomes a frantic race against time, not only to survive, but to figure out what the Moai are up to and if there's any way to outsmart these giant, unstoppable forces.
It's a story where ancient legends morph into this immediate, very real fight for survival. It really makes you think about what secrets might be hidden just beneath the surface of our world.
Okay, so we've just taken this apocalyptic probe into two completely different visions of the end of the world. What are your big takeaways? In the Coded Chronicles, we see the possibility of both salvation and destruction existing within our digital world, controlled by these unexpected teenage heroes. It makes you wonder, what hidden layers are lurking in the technology we use every day?
It really does. I mean, could there be fail-safes we don't even know about, lurking in the code of our smartphones or computers, the whole internet? And what happens if those safeguards fall into the wrong hands?
Then we have the Moai Guardians Awakening, which throws us face first into the raw power of the past. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about ancient civilizations and whether their legacy could have a much bigger, scarier impact on us than we ever imagined.
The story makes you think, what if the myths and legends we often brush aside as, just stories, actually hold a deeper, more dangerous truth? What if we're not as in control as we think we are?
It's wild how both these flash fiction stories, despite their very different doomsday scenarios, one digital, one ancient, both highlight how resilient and adaptable humans can be when faced with the unthinkable.
Totally. Whether it's those hackers scrambling to rewrite code or Finn and his crew trying to understand the motives of these giant stone statues, both stories are about fighting back, connecting with each other, and maybe even redefining what it means to survive when everything's gone haywire.
So, after our apocalyptic probe into the end of the world as we know it, we want to hear from you. Which scenario freaked you out more? Did these tales make you question our dependence on technology or the mysteries buried in our past?
We want to know. Share your thoughts. What kind of wild, end-of-the-world scenarios do you want us to tackle next on the Just Nuke IT podcast?
Hit that rate button and follow the show for more captivating stories. And remember, on the Just Nuke podcast, we're not just telling stories. We're launching apocalyptic probes into the heart of what makes those end-of-the-world scenarios so compelling, so terrifying, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit hopeful.
Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your code clean. You never know what might be lurking out there.
That's right. And remember, sometimes the end of the world as we know it might just be the beginning of something entirely new.
We'll see you next time on the Just Nuke It podcast.
Welcome to this weekly show where we cover one or two wild tales, end-of-the-world scenarios, and apocalypse stories from flash fiction, all in a fun, entertaining way. It's like blockbuster action films, but for your ears.
Exactly. So rate and follow the show for more captivating stories from the Just Nuke It podcast.
Stay tuned because things are about to get apocalyptic.